Hey guys, what's going on? Third Street Reactions here. We're back. I'm Shane.
I'm Joy.
And I am Tyler.
So, guys, doing something different today. First of all, my lovely wife, Joy, she's not really in a lot of my stuff, but we do a lot of things together. Maybe she'll be in more things. And you guys might remember Tyler from this eensy-beensy little fight on YouTube.
Shane, don't use that one. Use this one.
Details, whatever, okay? Anyways, guys, we're here because we're actually going to do a movie review. So I really want to see Indiana Jones, and I obviously want to see Oppenheimer, even Barbie when that comes out, but I actually decided to react to those, so I'm going to skip the great theater experience for those movies, and I'm going to react to them for you guys. So we saw...
Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, Sound of Freedom,
Yep.
Jim Caviezel,
Yep.
and it's interesting because it was kind of marketed as this faith-based film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that way. Did you feel that way when you watched it?
I think the only reason why I would say or consider it was a faith base was because of Tim Ballard's faith that he displayed. In
Yeah, he displays it like at the end.
Yeah.
Can you imagine all these atheists are watching? This is pretty good. You know, they went in there because Angel Studios, I don't know. And then at the end, he talks about God. Like, damn it! Son of a... You know what I mean? They get up, you know. How to put that in here?
Now there were some also small bits and pieces. I remember one part.
One of my favorite lines.
Not to get ahead of us or the situation here, but when he was having lunch with the pedophile,
yeah,
and he quoted like scripture,
yeah,
under his breath, and the guy just started laughing, and Jim's like, "You just have no clue what's about to happen."
Yes, we're going to be talking about spoilers here completely.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So it's based off true events with. I'm sorry, what's in Tim?
So yeah, basically it's the story of Tim Ballard, which he works for Homeland Security, and the small portion of his job is dealing with pedophiles and making sure that children aren't being trafficked and enslaved.
So he primarily dealt with the pedophile aspect, and he's asked by his partner, how many children have you rescued? And but that's not really his jurisdiction.
Right.
Now, maybe sometimes he does when they happen to be, you know, kind of used on site or whatever. But he meets this little boy, Miguel, that he saves. You know, he has to go through this process where he's playing with this pedophile's mind. Yep. Acting like he's into it, and he has to smile, and he just got that. Jim Caviezel, you know, obviously he was in The Passion of the Christ. Yes. But I mean, I thought he was really good in this movie. The reason why I said I didn't feel like a faith-based film is because I think conservatives are marketing as that when it was just made like 5 years ago, and actually it was made by I think Fox. Or it was acquired by Disney.
See, I didn't even know it was made that long.
It was made 5 years ago, and it's been sitting there because there's all those acquisitions that Disney made, and you know, they just didn't think it was going to make any money.
Well, they also just came up against a lot of pushback.
Yeah,
sharing that.
Jim Caviezel said there's a ton of roadblocks. Yes. So I just watched this podcast with I've watched multiple with Tim Ballard, where he talks about some of the things. I mean, some things in the movie are embellished because you have to make it entertaining. Right. I don't know if he went into rebel territory in the jungle. I have no idea, but the island stuff happened. Right. And actually, he said they couldn't even show everything because there was so much more. I think there were multiple like busts that they using with that same operation, but we just saw that one.
Which I was telling Shane, like we were watching the movie, I'm like, that is actually a genius idea.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
well, you know, island with a billionaire pedophile, sound familiar, right? But Tim Ballard, he you know, like one thing he said, he doesn't know if there's any kind of insidious reason why the movie actually wasn't being made. I think it's just financial roadblocks. There's all kinds of movies. I mean, they just canceled a fully made DC movie, Batgirl, because they just said it's not gonna make any money. They didn't like the quality. Yeah. But this had a budget of $14 million. It was already made, but the distribution rights, which I guess I don't know a lot about it, but it was expensive, and no one wanted to fork that over. I mean, just on the surface, I love the movie. It's weird to say I loved it, but it was extremely powerful. Yeah. How'd you feel, man?
I really enjoyed it. Thinking back to, since this is considered something that's a faith-based movie, thinking back to...
But is it?
Oh, right, right. But from a Christian's perspective, it's easily, you can portray that just because of Jesus's passion towards children. Yeah. And looking back in the past, you think of movies that have been advancing quote unquote Christian films like Fireproof, or The Passion, or even The Shack.
I never saw The Shack, but I heard it was great. And Fireproof, I really liked.
See, that's the one I haven't seen yet.
Okay, well, I love Kirk Cameron because of Growing Pains.
That was a great one.
And I thought it was a really good movie. And here's the thing. If faith-based films aren't your thing, this has been reviewed by a lot of media outlets because it's kind of coming to the front because it's beating out like other popular movies. Like, I love Indiana Jones. I think there's some kind of fatigue going on with like a lot of the things that Disney's churning out. I think that's disappointing because I'm not one of the people that has a problem with like the new Star Wars movies. Like I love them. I love Disney's content.
Right.
I mean, I grew up liking The Little Mermaid. I didn't really watch it, but I'm definitely going to see the new one. I don't really give a crap if she's black or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'll see it eventually.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just like, yeah, I like, that stuff doesn't matter to me. So, but like that being said, like I'm surprised how well this movie's doing. But what were your feelings on it? And we have a story to tell, but your feelings on the movie. Like I know it was very emotional when we were watching it.
Well, the very fact that the actress that was what was her name?
Rosato. Rocio.
She resembled Evangeline, our daughter, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're like 7 or 8, and maybe the actress is actually older, portraying someone younger.
Yeah,
that's common.
But like the long, dark skin, dark hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it just when you're a parent, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, it does something to you on a whole other level.
Yeah.
You know, but
I just felt this extreme, and I don't want to sound like a crazy man. I felt when you're dealing with these pedophiles, I felt this extreme urge of this violent urge, you know, when you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I imagine when Angel Studios produced it, they actually maybe even cut out some, because it was made just by a regular studio, I think. I don't know who, but Angel Studios, all they did was produce it. They just picked it up. They said, we'll pick up the distribution rights. So I wonder if they cut out, like I said, it's a faith-based movie. Like I don't even know if I'd call it that. Like there are cuss words in it, and like you take your walk with God really seriously.
Right.
So when you know, I know like I cuss and you don't really care. You know?
Right.
You know, I've heard you go, dang it, you know, you know what I mean? But like when you're watching it, you know, like I think it would be very intellectually dishonest if you just had these
cookie cutter.
Yeah, like these bad men who had to catch pedophiles, and you had these pedophiles go, well, shoot, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to be honest in your portrayal of them.
Yeah.
Because as a Christian or an atheist or a Muslim, or I think you want that accurate portrayal. Right?
Yeah, because I mean, even Christian holding the beliefs that you do, you still are involved with everyday life.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can't, you want people to, of course, love and fall into love with Christ, but at the same time, you can't physically change the aspects. You can influence them in some sort of way, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you have to just let it be for a while, and it's just part of the world that we're involved in.
What are you trying to do with me, Tyler?
I'm always here to influence Shane.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah. So the movie, I had like a $14 million budget, and it recouped that like the first day. Like they thought it was going to make.
They beat out Indiana Jones by $10 million in the box office. Well, it was $10 million versus 7.2 is what I saw. Yeah,
and like I think Indiana Jones is going to have long legs. Like I'm not here to say, well, the conservatives we're beating Hollywood, baby. You know, I'm not here to say that. Like. You know, I'm a Christian, and I don't really talk about it a lot because I don't think I'm a particularly good one. But you know, I'm glad that this movie came out, and it's cool that the guy, Tim Ballard, is a Christian. Yeah. I like Jim Caviezel. I thought he was incredible in The Passion of the Christ, especially when you hear all the stuff he went through, like hypothermia, like I think he got a concussion, you know, like all kinds of stuff happened. He got struck by lightning twice.
Yes, yep, I remember hearing that.
You know, and I love the movie Frequency, and Count of Monte Cristo. It was one of my favorite movies, and I understand it's like a very, very abridged version of the book because I read the book when I was like 20, and but I love that movie. Have you seen The Count of Monte Cristo with him and Guy Pearce? It is freaking great.
With Jim Caviezel?
Yeah, it's great. And there's this amazing show. Eric Wiley introduced it to me. No, actually, we started watching it together. Then he fell off because he didn't like it, and then he ended up binging it at the beach like 5 seasons in like a week or 2. I'm thinking and it was like years later. What's it called? It has this guy from Lost in it with the bug eyes. It's called Person of Interest.
Oh yes.
Okay, I love that show.
Yes.
So Jim Caviezel, he's not just he's like the go-to faith-based movie guy.
Yes.
But that guy can act.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of things, and I like following his career. Before we finish talking about the movie, we do have this really crazy story. I think it spoke to us more. 4th of July. We were at an event, and then I drove separately with Evangeline to go home because I had to upload these videos that we react to from your office because the internet is terrible. And then we went home, and then you call me like an hour later, just very distraught. So what happened?
Yeah, I was being followed. Me and my son and our 2 daughters were being followed 4th of July for about 50 minutes.
Yeah, so we live on the outskirts of Marietta, in a suburb of it, technically. So, and that's like a 15-20 minute drive, depending on traffic. So you drove all the way to where our house was.
And I just kept driving back.
And you know, so you were very smart not to pull in our driveway.
Nope.
And then you just kept going to the back road of town.
Called Shane. Well, I said, Malachi, call your dad. So he called him, and then Shane's like, you know, call the police. So I did.
Call the police.
Call the police. So I called the police, and she chased me. It was like a high-speed chase in Marietta, you guys. It was pretty scary. And it was crazy also, too, because I truly believe that everything happens for a reason, you know, and this movie came out, right? And then I'm like, this happened to me. And it was like even more high alert.
Yeah.
Like to just be on high alert and just to be aware of your surroundings. And like, I feel like for the most part, I was very calm, but I just knew at one point, I'm like, she is following us. And my son was like, no, she's not.
You were absolutely distraught when I heard you. I said, call the popo. And then they told you to pull up for the sheriff's department.
And there was no one there, so I just...
And this lady, so she was doing kind of evasive driving a little bit, and she was right on you.
Yeah.
And so you went to the sheriff's department, and she got up on the curb.
Yeah.
Now...
Well, because I pulled into the sheriff's department, and then she pulled right in after me. Like, she was going so fast, she pulled up on the curb.
And we know did you know it was a she then?
Leanna did. She's like, Mom, she's a girl.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
So, and we were kind of informed, and I think I might have knew this. I did know of people, like, putting something, obstruction in the road. So you get out of your car, and then they shoot you or abduct your children.
Right.
But the idea, and like, maybe my dad told me about this, but the RAM technique, which, shout out to Jessica.
Yes, he talked to her cop friend.
Yeah, and I'm just, I don't know how I didn't think of it, but just ramming into a vehicle. Like, oh, sorry, not tailgated you, whatever.
Falling close.
Fender bender, you get out of your car, and then another, like a van drives by, maybe kills you or whatever, and abducts your children, you know. So, I don't know if that happened, or I don't know if it's true, you know, but it definitely made me think, like, oh shit, that could have been a thing, right?
Crazy thing, 5 miles down the road, the truck was wrecked.
Yeah, 5 miles down the road the next day, the truck that was chasing has Florida license plates, which is down there by the border.
That's wild.
Okay, and it was wrecked, and the front right side looked like it hit someone.
Yep.
Almost like they carried out that.
Now, was the truck completely abandoned? No one was around the truck?
So, you know, and then later on it was gone.
Yeah, she picked it up or someone picked it up.
So, you know, and then, and of course I'm on high alert, and I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but a couple days later, you know, I was, like, on our road, because we live kind of in a little valley, I was working out with my son on the porch on a little ghetto gym. And then,
at least you got one.
Yeah, right. And then there's these two cars parked, and they were like going opposite directions. They were sitting there talking to each other, and that happens all the time on my road because all these freaking rednecks are out there going, "Oh, Billy, you know, I don't know, I got to load hay, but it's gonna rain."
Where's the next Harbor Freight?
Yeah, right. The damn immigrants are coming in, taking our jobs. Like, so, and and that happens all the time, but it freaked me out. But then the one car drove off, and the other car was there longer, and it was shining a light towards, like it wasn't at our house. So, like, here's our house. The road's up here. It was shining a light, like, here. Like not, I wouldn't even say, like, down here. Like, kind of here. Right? And our house is here. The cars are here. I was like, are they looking for your car? And this happened, like, a year ago. And someone was looking for their dog. Like, it could have been anything.
It could have been coincidence, but literally...
But it looked like a flood. It looked like a floodlight. Right. Like, it was so powerful. I'm like, oh, it's a cop. Okay, thank God. And I was running up there, my fat ass.
Well, they're also paroling her.
I was like up there. I was like, oh. I was like, hey! I was like going to yell at him. And it drove off. It was a regular sedan. I was like, oh, crap. You know, something like it must have been like just a flashlight.
But we also have cops patrolling right now.
Yeah, but I called the police, and they said, no, it wasn't us. They were there 40 minutes before that.
Yeah.
So so I've had to take personal security a lot more seriously. I've been sleeping in the living room with a shotgun and my everything else. So, it's just, it's a little scary. And then, it's just like, man.
The one thing living in our area too, it can kind of make us a little naive to things because not too many things can touch our area like it does all surrounding
like the bigger
us.
Cities, right?
So when you see movies like this, and especially if you have kids, I just had a kid. He's 4 months old now, and he's all with us all the time. But it's now you start thinking about those things a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I haven't cried like that watching a movie in a while.
Yes, I cried at the end. I want to talk about the movie so much, but
you can with the spoiler review. So
okay,
yes, we can talk about it.
Well, I'm going straight to the ending, or when I know his real name's not Teddy Bear. I know that was the Miguel.
You're using his prostitute name.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But at the end, when he meets his younger sister in the hospital bed,
The actors are fantastic.
Yes, the kids. My mind was blown. My mind was literally blown about these kids. Yes. And like you said before, it might have been that, they're a little bit older, portraying younger kids.
It happens a lot, yeah.
But still, the fact, the kids looked like they were like 5.
Well, the thing that got to me, and we're talking about acting chops here, I love the part, and that was one of your favorite parts.
Yeah.
But when they were in that shipping container, like crying, I imagine Evangeline like screaming like that. And I was like, I want to go in and start, oh my God, I'm telling you. Can't say it on here because you get pissed off.
Yes, I was holding my wife's hand, and I had to clench my other hand because I know I probably like broke bones in her hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have like a righteous anger.
Yes, that's what I told Shane. That's what I had.
Yeah, no, that's how the Bible describes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but like, I know people who they do not believe anything close to what I believe, and they were fired up. They're like, dude, I want to start killing some pedophiles.
Yeah, I mean, if you have kids, regardless if you're a Christian or not, like you were saying, if you're atheist, whatever your beliefs are, if you have kids, this hits close to home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what's interesting. I'm basically apolitical, I guess I should say. You know what I mean? Like I'm basically a Republican. I know that's what you are. That's what you are. But like I try to really be. Let's at least listen to both sides.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And dude, like in my line of work, and just like I'm friends with all kinds of people, and like, dude, we all believe way different things, and I'm like, some of my best friends didn't believe any of the things I believed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, whatever. I don't care what you believe. But like, I've seen some weird like pushback on this movie from certain media outlets. And I'll just say one right now, like Vice, which is of course they're going bankrupt. They talked about maybe some of the statistics about child trafficking, like being a little exaggerated. Like, I don't know if that's true, but some of I did hear from Tim Ballard that a lot of these numbers they're using are from A, B, and C government organizations.
Okay.
But I don't care if those numbers are exaggerated. I think they should be, so people would be more aware. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I saw someone like say another movie about white saviorism. How'd you I'm Filipino, you're black. How'd you feel about that? Because a guy, Tim Ballard, what skin color is he?
White.
He's white. It's based on a story about him. So,
right.
Now, if they made him white and he wasn't white, I would call foul. Okay, but like this is a record of an event.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the movie Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
The coach was black specifically, or even the movie with Sandra Bullock where the Southern family adopted the black kid and they raise him, he ended up becoming a professional athlete. Yeah. Like if you portray or change anything,
white saviorism. Well, actually, it's more like hippie, white saviorism. Twisting a little mustache. You work in a barber industry, so you see, you're actually,
the Pringle chip guy.
Yeah. So,
but it's not right. Keep the story the way it is. If it's true events, keep the characters the way they are. Color, beliefs, whatever it is.
Yeah. Now, growing up, they call it whitewashing. Yeah, there's a case made for that. I think in the 2000s, and I'm sure obviously in legacy Hollywood when you're portraying like the Ten Commandments movie. They weren't people of Middle Eastern descent.
Right.
I've never seen it actually, but I imagine they weren't. So there's a case for that especially back then. But the industry was mostly in the United States dominated by people of not color. You know what I'm saying? And, so in this type of movie, I thought like that, you trying to call foul, I'm calling fouling you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't want to talk about, I guess when it comes to, some of the facts about Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel, I know they're trying to say Tim Ballard incorrectly postulated that some of these child sex traffickers were doing organ harvesting and drinking blood and shit of these kids that they sex trafficked. Hey, that's terrible. I guess there's this alt-right group called QAnon. I don't know anything about them, but I guess they're extreme and they're violent or something. They said the same. They said something similar, but I think they're saying that freaking all the Hollywood celebrities they're getting together in their little cabal and drink.
Right.
And he said I'm not saying that they're doing that. I'm just saying that we busted people. They busted this operate. It was in Africa. They busted, and that's what they were doing. And they were I guess, and this is really bad. Cutting off these kids' genitals and hanging them on their freaking door for their businesses like a good luck charms thing, dude. So I don't know why anyone would try to attack anything that guy's doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wasn't there at these operations, but they have a record of doing all kinds of things. And if this movie exaggerates any of that stuff, I don't really care. It's got to be, you know, because this has happened before.
But I mean, even watching it, it didn't even seem like it was exaggerated.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I agree. Yeah,
there wasn't anything that I could pick out of.
Yeah, except maybe like I don't know if he went in the rebel territory.
Yes.
Like in the jungle to save one girl. Like that might have embellished. I have no idea.
Right.
You got to make. This is what Ben Affleck said when they made the movie Air, which I want to see really bad. He said they embellish all kinds of things. You got to make the movie. It's based off a true story, but you got to make it entertaining, or no one's going to watch it, and they're not going to want to find out the real story.
Right.
Yeah.
The real story is most of this stuff happened, except the island stuff. There was more to it. They actually cut that out. Now, anyways, back to the specifics of the movie, not the politics of the movie. I thought it was made with a $14 budget. I thought it was really well made. Favorite stuff in the movie, like I know one of my favorite lines when he says God's children are not for sale.
That was mine too.
I thought that was awesome.
And he was just so serious about it.
Yeah.
You know, well, and I like the part where he was talking to. Okay, who's the guy that they worked with, co-partnered with?
The bigger dude that was like always smoking cigars and drinking.
Yeah, that guy who helped run the cartel. He was in prison. I love that guy. He had a hell of a story.
Yeah, because I was just about to ask him, because at that point, Jim decides to quit Homeland Security.
Yes.
Because he has a way bigger mission, right?
Yeah.
He wants to save children.
Yeah.
Right? And so he asked the guy, what made you get out of what you were doing? Because remember, he went to jail or prison or whatever, and then he got out, and then he had the experience with the underage girl.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought that it was powerful to be able to say that.
Yes.
Because, like, I think most people could write that guy off immediately and say, okay, well, he's a piece of shit because he did this.
Yes.
Right.
But I felt like, okay, no, he did this terrible thing. We've all done terrible things.
Yes.
And he, for one thing, he was so in grief, he wanted to end his life. And B, he said, you know, now I'm going to save as many children as I can. And he just buys them and sets them free.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like the Klieg Lars. Klieg Lars.
I don't even know who that is.
Klieg Lars? He's from Attack of the Clones. He botched Shmi Skywalker and he married her.
Dude, I watched that stuff, but I don't remember the characters like you do.
Aww.
Klieg Lars. He's in a wheelchair. Klieg Lars. He's like hovering around. They stole his wife, and Anakin had to go in the Tusken Raiders. He killed all the women and children. It's not just the men, but the women and the children too.
This is going over.
Okay, Klieg Lars. He botched Shmi Skywalker and he married her. He set her free and he married her. He probably married her and then set her free. I don't know the order of when he did it. But Anakin goes back to Tatooine to find his mother, and Watto's like, you know, I sold her. You know?
Joy, do you know these things?
Now that he's explaining, I know who that is.
Yeah, Klieg Lars. It's Uncle Owen's dad.
Yeah.
Oh, Uncle Owen. Okay.
Uncle Owen. Yeah.
I know who Uncle Owen is.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton. Well, in the new stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So
actors' names.
Okay, so down that rabbit trail, but yeah, he sets them free. And I appreciated that aspect of the story. Like, not all these guys are these squeaky clean guys who go to church every Sunday and they don't smoke, they don't drink.
Like I said, it's real life.
Yes.
It's real life. Because he even said when he got involved with the younger girl, which he didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, he didn't know.
No, and he was physically impaired. He was like high off some cocaine and like had drank and was, you know. Yeah. So obviously, you know, these younger girls being involved in all this stuff throughout their life, going through hard times is going to physically change you.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So, and it just, no, it's absolutely unfortunate.
Yes.
Because he didn't know, and she's doing what she was forced to do, and now does and does probably almost like as a willing participant. You know, I mean, maybe at that point in her life, I don't know. She was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
But did the movie say how he realized she was that young? He just looked at the
her toenail polish. It was a cat, I think it was. Yes.
Well, I mean, I know. I mean, I was wondering, like, I mean, to me, it's kind of like logically, I'm trying to follow up on that and go like, well, I mean, I know 20-year-old girls who did that. You know what I'm saying? So
as far as putting cats.
Yeah, like I think that's a jump. If you're gonna kill yourself, then that's a jump.
Go
ahead, Joy.
Well, he also explained, like, the hopelessness in her eyes, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was getting ready to say.
So it was like, so he saw that, but he also saw the toenail polish.
Yeah. So to me, I think one of the best parts of that movie was the acting in the story component, where he said, like, I saw the darkness in her. She's gonna go home and she lives in this darkness, and now I know that darkness that she sees is going to be me.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That was just like it like made me emotional, and like even though it was a disgusting subject, it was powerful. Like it was a cool line. Like, it was poetic, I should say.
Yes.
And the movie absolutely delivers on the promise of its premise. And that happened. He did save the little girl. In terms of, you know, I can imagine the real life event. Maybe he saved her with the island thing.
Right.
But they said, you know what? We need a Metal Gear Solid. You know, you need to go into the jungle. You know what I'm saying? Some kind of production team said, I didn't care for Metal Gear Solid 5. They should have ended at 4. Let's make our own. You know what I mean? Oscar Isaacs, he can't do it, dude. You know, because he's supposed to play Snake, supposedly. But I appreciate the whole part, and the way they portrayed violence through that little girl's eyes, like with the cinematography and the music. It was absolutely brilliant, I thought. Now, I for one, could have had much more violence extracted on these people. I don't think anyone of any creed or race, they're not going to see a pedophile get their ass beat and go, you know what? I just can't watch this movie. It's inappropriate.
One of the crazy things that I was thinking about was when.
But it's from her eyes, so that was the artistic part of it.
Yeah.
The crazy thing that I thought about was when the Colombian guy was interrogating one of the traffickers in the room.
Oh yeah.
And he showed him the photos, and he's like, "Is this how you want your buddy to be, like your buddy?" So it's crazy how even in the prison system, people that have been locked up for crimes don't agree with something this crazy. It's a crime, but you know, it's like. You don't mess with the kids.
Right.
Yeah, we have murderers that will kill and rape other people who have messed with children.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's just like a no-no. And here's the thing, they're spitting facts about the movie, and I was going, I guess, basic 5-minute Wikipedia research. And one of them, I think it might have been CNN. They were talking about the idea that slavery or people in bondage... Oh, yeah. The numbers are so high that they contend with people in bondage in modern slavery.
Yeah.
When it was legal.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I think if you go back to the days of the Old Testament or Mesopotamia, I imagine like a fourth of the world was enslaved. I have no idea, but I imagine it's very high. But in modern slavery, like the transatlantic slave trade, you know, and probably going back 500 years, you know, the people in bondage today, and it's mostly children. The movie said they actually exceed those numbers. Now, to me, if it's even like a quarter of those numbers, that's way too much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Any of it's way too much. It's just, it absolutely, with the events that we were going through, dude, it scared me. It's just like, I was like crying. I mean, and I know the movie is trying to make people wake up to that.
Right.
No, I thought it was a powerful movie, and I think no matter what you believe, like that movie was a great movie.
Yeah. And
there's no like, all right, now people are going to twisting their mustache. These guys are now they're going to convert to my faith. Like it wasn't about that.
Right. No.
So it's just like I think everyone should see this movie at least once. If you have kids, like you know, it's going to speak to you.
For sure. And the one thing too, at the end of the movie. There was a hidden message, and you could scan the QR code. The QR code. So if you're one of those people that you know can't handle something this crazy because you have kids, Angel Studios,
trauma.
Yes, Angel Studios has the option for you to actually pay it forward, as they did for other things.
Well, that's what we did because the food stamp card didn't take that, so we had to. Oh my God! You know, they said we don't take this. You know what I mean?
No, that's a great idea. Yeah, you can definitely pay it forward. But I think, again, as a mom, you know, sitting there, I mean, to see Shane's reaction, like both of us at the same time, like we just both knew that we were like crying.
But well, blind way, people thought I didn't react very well. I think I've gotten better at that. But this movie, I was thinking, man, like, you know, the part of selfish capitalist in me is like, I need to react to this, you know, so I can get more views. But like, like, you know, and maybe I'll take my kids through it. But like honestly, like this is just a movie that I think is going to compel a reaction, conjure a reaction out of really anyone, especially if you have kids. Like they don't shy away from like they make it a horror.
In the beginning, in the beginning of the video, I was like, "This is so somber. This is so oh my gosh, it's like happening to her." Like
the cinematography and the music are some of the best parts of that movie. And there's not like a million songs. Like there is like this melody, this music composition that is woven throughout the DNA of the film, and it is, I think, the little girl on the drum, but it's like a, you know, I think it's like a more bigger version of that, and it's interwoven. It's kind of her theme song.
Yeah.
And dude, it was freaking
because it started from the beginning, and then at the end,
she
was hesitant to play the. She was hesitant to play. The drum, but then it's the sound of freedom.
Well, okay, so one thing I did see was like it incorrectly postulates that a child can go back to being normal, and I'm like, well, I think.
I was like, where's her dad? I'm like, why is she by herself?
No, okay.
At the end.
No. To me, that wasn't like, see, she was saved. Now she has a normal life. To me, I don't I don't understand how I don't know. Like I think politicizing it in a way where it's like, oh, see, I'm calling false on this. This girl, I think the intention of the scene was she was going to try to resume the joy that she had, even though it's hard. She didn't sit there, start smiling, she had this look on her face.
Yeah.
And to me, I was thinking, can you do the very thing? And as far as this little girl knew, she could sing, and that's why she was being invited.
That's why she gets sought out.
So, to me, obviously, I'm thinking, well, can I even resume? Can I get the same joy out of doing this thing that was used for such evil?
Right.
And I don't know if she had those deeper conversations. But to me, I saw it as the movie's coming full circle.
Yeah.
And she's making the choice that she's going to try to resume the joy that she had.
Yeah.
So, I think I think it's dishonest to say that, no, they're trying to show that her life's normal now. I don't think anyone thinks that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and the thing I would probably say that song gave her hope throughout the movie, because there was one part where she was in the bathtub.
Oh, yeah, she was.
And she was hanging over the side, and she was, just had been happened,
Yep.
And then she's sitting here trying to sing that same song that she found joy in. So
and that's a good point. So it got her through.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Even more makes me right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Even more to the point, I should say that that I think that's a false logic, I should say.
Don't you think it's cool about the necklace with Timoteo?
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I wonder if that was true.
See, that's what I'm saying. Even if it wasn't, it just made the story pull.
I don't think these atheists are gonna walk in this theater and go, "Oh hell, this is why I can't stand this fake crap." You know what I'm saying? Dude, anyone can see that movie. It's
anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah. So, anyways, final thoughts.
You need to go see it. Shane's gonna put the QR code up so you can.
Well, I think if we can
find it, pay it forward. But definitely, absolutely need to go, especially if you have kids. But for us, I know it was stirring in our heart because of what had happened.
Yeah, I'm nervous right now. My kid's being up there. Zach, who lives next door, my son is 15. He called down here several times.
Yep.
Just to make sure Malachi was good, because Malachi wasn't up there. They just anyways, no, I agree. I think it's worth seeing at least once. It's a powerful movie. I'm not gonna say it's a good movie, but it does what it intends to do.
Yes.
And it's to make people aware that this is a huge deal in the world. In the Joe Rogan podcast, I think he covers it lots of times. I watched, I mostly follow his Clips channel because I don't listen to his whole podcast anymore. Even though they're for free, I'm usually just on YouTube and I fall asleep to it. But then just the child sex trafficking, and it seems, it's always been in the world.
Yeah.
But we have so much awareness of it. It seems like even more recently, the past few years, we're dealing with an increase of it.
Yeah.
That it's going to rival the drug trade and all this stuff. I don't know how true that is, but if it comes close, they're saying it's going to surpass it. That's nuts to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think people need to be aware of it, and you don't have to love Jim Caviezel, you don't have to be a Christian, you don't have to be whatever. You just gotta, I think, be a decent person. Think, oh crap, this is happening.
Right. It's
watch
hard,
your kids.
It's hard to deny the fact, when you see this kind of stuff, because even within my profession, within the last couple of years, at my mom's cosmetology school, we are now showing the new students that come in a 1-hour video dealing with sex trafficking, because it's found in the salons.
Oh, because they're doing hair and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're trafficking kids through salons now.
How does that work?
I do not know.
Okay.
I think it's been forever since I've seen the DVD, but I think one thing is they're imposing these kids as the children of the owner of the salon, and having them as either workers in the salon or
you walk in a Chinese restaurant, it's like that all the time. They always have their kids there. I'm just saying.
That is true.
No, I know what you're saying. So that's awful, dude.
Just be aware.
Be
aware.
You don't have to be a gun owner, but just know how to defend yourself. One thing that my dad always did is we always had like a fire escape plan. We had all these things. Here's the number of the fire department. Here's the number of the police department. Because in our small town, you couldn't just call 911. But in the past 15 years, now you can call 911, and you tell them what's going on, and they'll send the police or the fire or whoever. Yeah. So it's just, man. Anyways, I don't want to keep this too long. I know you got stuff to do. We just wanted to do this review because, it just spoke highly to me. And, I normally do genre things, but I think this is just an important movie, guys. So much love to you. We appreciate it. And, if you like what we do, just leave a comment and check out the other stuff I do. It's not faith-based stuff.
It's still sweet nonetheless.
Yeah, and go check out Ferocity. We did a pretty good job of that. So we're out here.
Kinda. We're all right.